the low life. Let's get it. I'm a New York nigga. Bust me down on that Newport nigga. Give a fuck what you thought, nigga. This is uncooked coke, sea salt, nigga. Let's go. I roll around in big trucks. Whole crew could get like us. Nah, I don't say much out of town. This niggas always say I'm playing too much. Big band stacked up. Yeah. Keep Mac case, do act up. Cadillac truck, room back up. Cops looking for answers, but don't ask us. It's big bucks in the club. I give no fucks in the club. My cousin swiping, so we showing niggas love. And the vibe is all good, but don't get it fucked up. Get left in the club. Bitch, I almost bought an F in the club. Look, don't have step in the club, cause the Ruger go boom up in your chest in the club. I'm a New York, and niggas selling the crack. I'm a New York, and when niggas busting the gap. I'm a New York, and niggas know how to act. I'm from New York, and when niggas killing more rats. I'm a New York, and niggas selling the crack. I'm a New York, and niggas busting the gap. I'm a New York, and I don't know how to act. I'm from New York, niggas.
What's good? What's good, y'all? It's your boy DJ Doowyah. This is our third. It's really the fourth, but this is since the revamp inside the industry. This is gonna be our third edition, and I got one of the people that I would say that I would admire, and I really feel like he's making so many moves in the community. Also in this, I met him in this music business. And he's somebody that I feel like has a good story to tell, and he's out here really making moves and not just capping on Facebook like a lot of y'all. But yeah, no further ado, I'm gonna bring him on. I got Mr. All Business, RENNIE CHARLES. Man, what's good, bro?
Yo, top of the evening. Doowyah, man. It's been a long time, man. Appreciate you having me on the show.
It's been a long time coming. Pause.
Yo, listen. I always speak very highly of you and all the things that you accomplished. It's been a crazy journey, but I appreciate having brothers like you alongside of me that's still doing the things they do. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll get right into it, man. So just introduce yourself for the people that's on the live.
Well, you know, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate everything about me. So, you know, for those who don't know, my name is RENNIE Charles, better known as Rennie.
Yep.
And then my my personal travels led me to Mr. All Business, which means I just move at such a pace that I have to have multiple things moving at once. That's just the way I'm driven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I appreciate having like-minded people like myself around, because, you know, when you get people like us around, ideas start formulating, ideas start turning into, in facts, into reality. And you know how easy that is to turn that into a nice, steady income. So right. I'm about building with these same type of energy so we can continue growing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. So where were you born?
Oh, well, my start came up from the 5 boroughs. I'm originally from Lefrak City, Queens, Iraq.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yo, listen, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of pieces of my age. My first inspiration in hip hop, I think I had to be like 9, 10.
Okay.
And I was outside at the Akinelli video that was in my project. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So Akinelli's also from Lefrak.
Yep.
He had his first single he had put out. I can't remember the song. It's so kind of me mad. I can't remember it, but Akinelli. Yo, matter of fact, it was the ah ha ha ah hoo hoo. It's the ah ha ha. You know what I'm saying? I know kids ain't gonna remember that one, but that was my first.
It gotta be like 1990, right?
About that. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a
See,
fact.
I know my stuff, man.
You know your stuff.
Yo, I ain't gonna front, man. I thought you was a Brooklyn guy. I thought you was gonna be like, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, da 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 da. But so did you grow up in Lefrak?
I did. I moved upstate. I was 14 years old when my parents relocated to upstate New York.
Wow, we got a similar story, man.
Yeah, and that was a huge transition. That was definitely a culture shock for a 14-year-old kid growing up in Queens to be moved up to state, and I didn't come to Newburgh. I didn't come to Middletown either. My parents had a house in Goshen.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it was definitely a blessing that I didn't know I was blessed with at the time. So you know what I'm saying? I was full with all the energy. I was full up with all the all the desires to do everything but what my parents told me to do. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of dropped the ball with that, but that was definitely a big part of my history moving upstate New York. So around 94, 95, my parents moved up here, and I totally rebelled. So I was going back to the city a lot until, eventually I had to come back home. So by the time I was 16, 17, I was kind of like upstate full time.
Got you. Yeah, I'm originally from Hollis, Queens. So
okay, there you go. Queens get the money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's why I've always been a connection, my guy. Like you said,
man, that Queens connection. I'm from 25th. You know what I mean? The same block as Russell Simmons and Run. So it was all around me when I was growing up. And you kind of already. My next question that I was going to ask you, you kind of already like talked about it. I was saying I wanted to ask you, how did you get introduced into hip hop? What was your first introduction? But you kind of went into that. But what was if that wasn't the first thing that grabbed you?
That was, I can remember that like gearing me to a hip hop. But like my first experience with music, of course, like everybody else, was my parents. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
My parents were just like everybody else. First, my dad's from Harlem, and my mom was from Southside Queens.
Oh, so, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's where my mom is from.
Yeah, my mom was from Sutton Boulevard over there.
Okay.
On that side. So yeah, I was always going back and forth between Lefrak and Southside, but it was their taste in music. I came up under that. I mean, I can remember, and you got to think this is early. So my dad would Tina Marie, and this is when I used to mess up all his tapes. So he had Tina Marie, 4/4s, The Temptations, The Whispers. I mean, what's the one I used to do this? Anita Baker.
Okay.
She always sing like that. All of those. And then I remember when he started to bring the hip hop tapes. So his first, I remember the first tapes were like Brand Nubian.
Oh, okay.
My dad had me listening to even was all R&B. I was listening to Jodeci. I was listening to Brand Nubian, De La Soul. Oh, he had all the records, Curtis Blow, Tribe Called Quest. Like my dad was into all of that hip hop. You know what I'm saying? When I started to get into more hip hop, I was definitely attracted to the more harder hip hop. So I started to listen to, like I said, Noriega, the Onyx, Lost Boys. That's what I came up on there. I was a serious Queens head. So anything came out of Queens, I was totally, you know what I mean? You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't talk about Queens around me. So, the Mall Deep, everybody from Queensbridge, from Crawl Mega, Nature, everybody. You know what I mean? That was all up my upbringing.
Mobb Deep's my favorite group all time, man. Definitely.
All time, man. Yeah, I modeled my life to that. I thought that I was going to live and die, shook ones, and
right. Saying? I still did a freestyle.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's for me. That's like, that's what really made me like. Obviously, like I said, I Run DMC and LL Cool J was all around me and all that type of stuff. But when I could think for my own, it was a Mobb Deep, man. I had to go with them boys, man. So excuse me. And then the next thing I wanted to ask you is the culture shock of moving upstate. Like when I first moved upstate, I didn't move directly to Kingston. I lived in Poughkeepsie first, so I lived in the the Corleys. So I lived over there, and then I never really had. When I lived in the city, I'm gonna keep it real, man. I never really came across white people like that, except for the teachers in the school. So that was like the only people that you really interacted. It was like one white lady at my grandma's church, and that was really it. So talk about the culture shock when you first came up here and the difference between the city and upstate.
Wow, you know that idea, bro. You talk about night and day, you talk about 9-4.
Right.
And you know what was good about my experience or the experience of anybody who moved upstate in the 90s? Like we were like not the first, but it still wasn't as popular. Like you was still like a needle in the haystack coming from the city up here. It wasn't like everybody from the city had came up and made that transition yet. So at that point, you know, the upstate population wasn't quite familiar or ready for the things that New York was bringing. So by 94, 95, we was like a little cut of the edge. But, you know, coming up in the city, we heard stories of being called nigga or, you know, being exposed to racism. And in New York City, I was oblivious to that. They didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't part of my everyday life. So the biggest part of the culture shock was coming up here and having to deal with racism and, you know, being the one, 5 black kids out of a school full of white kids, you know what I'm saying? So having to deal with that, you know, I definitely had to experience fights where, you know, I was fighting white kids and stuff like that, going through all of that. So that was like the biggest culture shock. I guess you could say that was a con. A pro to it, of course, was, you know what I'm saying, they was always attracted to us. So, you know, I started to bring a lot of white girls around. So, you know, that was one of the pros. And, you know, the only thing that I do regret not taking advantage of the opportunities that I had when I moved up here. But what I do notice is that, like, even with the opportunities, it's like, you can't hide the fact that, you know, the racism is prevalent. And, you know what I'm saying? And, like, now that I look back at it, like, I was definitely traumatized by a lot of the things that were just normal practices up here. Like, you know what I'm saying? We was getting pulled over like crazy over here for having weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, the lifestyle that we lived upstate was so different. And even though some people would be like, yo, there was stuff to do outside, there's so much more to do in the city. Like, when I was in the city, I never worried about drugs. Like, it was around us, but I was so into what we were doing, it was never like an option to do. Like, taboo. You know what I mean? Upstate was all holes ball. That was the lifestyle. Everybody's getting high. It is not even about how high, getting high, but how high can you get? You know what I'm saying? So I was just exposed to a whole different lifestyle coming up here with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. The transition from the city to the upstate is definitely it's tough for a kid. You know what I mean? It's you put in that type of environment, especially you've come from Lefrak. It's really totally different than up here.
Totally.
So you said something that I wanted to kind of zero in on, and you talked about, you know, the white girl situation. So when I first like came up here, that was something that I kind of dabbled into also. But when I brought them to my family, like back in the city, it was like, what is you doing? And then when I moved back down there, it was like, I met this girl and we became real close and stuff. And it was like, is she black? And I was like, yeah, she's black. So how did your family take to, you know, you kind of going that route?
You know, my family was open. You know, they was just happy I was like getting to know different people and getting outside. So at first, I guess it was just, you got to break the ice and meet people. And
right.
It really wasn't I never ain't got no issues, no backlash. You know what I'm saying? So I know my family is always, you know, motivating me to keep the family structure there. Right. But they was never like, oh, you can't do that. They just always wanted to make sure that whoever I was dealing with, where was their motives? You know what I'm saying? And then how was their family viewing me? How did their family view our culture? You know what I'm saying? They was always open about that.
Yeah, that's how my family was. Exactly how you explained it. So when did you really start getting into, you know, wanting to be like, make the music and be behind it? Because you're more of a behind the scenes person. You're one of the, you know, people that people have to really make shit happen, because most artists want to be artists. They don't want to do the behind the scenes. They don't want to book the shows. They don't want to.
Most artists don't even want to be artists. Most artists want the results of what they see successful artists have. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
First thing I talk to an artist or anybody that wants to sell anything, like I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers who also has a merchandising side hustle. So I asked her, how many are you happy with the results you're getting? She was like, no. So I said, well, how much time are you putting in to actually selling whatever it is you're selling? Start laughing, because that's exactly what it is. You want the results of selling something as if you're on there putting in the same hours you're putting in at your job. Yeah. And then when you're not, you're criticizing the world for not just wanting to throw money at you. So I think hip hop is almost the same way with a lot of artists. Like, even if they are talented, I feel like they just not really built into that. I got to get up and work to get to a goal. I don't even want to say a result or get famous, just a goal. Yeah.
I'd see me personally, I love the grind of all this stuff. Like, and I love the day-to-day of it. And it definitely gets hard sometimes where you want to quit or you don't see have the motivation. But like I said, it's people like you that can come up with a game plan for artists. And I say like myself too, that we can come up with a game plan for our artists and make their vision come to life. You know what I mean? Exactly. So as far as like the big business music group, how did you select the artist that you wanted to deal with?
Well, honestly, I ain't gonna front. It went through trial and error. I tell people all the time, like one of my partners, like everybody I work with, I don't have artists. First of all,
gotcha.
You know, it's a partnership. So what Big Business Music Group is, and it's an intellectual property here to teach you what you need to know. And as I'm teaching you, I want you to build your independence so you'll be able to do things on your own. And once people understand, like, you can't be successful in music or really anything without a team. So what I do is just show people where they might need certain players on their team, and then the vision, like you say, where you might need to be at within a certain couple months and what you need to do to get there. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically it. And that's through trial and error. I was recording artists like everybody else. I was rapping, and I was realizing that just rapping is not going to get me to where I need to go. So I had to start to learn some stuff. And the best secret I got was from just picking up a book. So through my travels in, I've been incarcerated a bunch of times. So numerous times I'll be like, damn, all the traction, all the momentum we built up, you lose it when you got to go do a bid. You know what I'm saying? So during them times, I was like, man, I got to use this shit wisely. So I hit the books and I just read. I remember I read books by Russell Simmons. I read stuff by Kevin Liles. I read every book I knew that they put out. I read it. So Malcolm Gladwell or Graham, another one, great book called The Tipping Point. Okay. And it was books like that really showed me like, oh shoot, I kind of like enjoyed like this type of process of putting these ideas together almost as much as I got like writing and seeing how that end project came together. Just like you said, I like seeing, you got that idea? Okay, well, maybe if I do this, that, and the third, we can make that, bring that to fruition. And once a couple things started to work out, that's when I really started to like, I love that process, part of the process.
That's ill. So you whenever you book studio sessions and stuff in there and there, you don't never have the inkling of getting back on the mic?
Oh yeah, I do. Okay. I help out. I still be charting down things and like my girl's helping me now because she's showing me how like the grown man rap to me is public speaking. So when I'm inspired, still write it, and then you don't understand how you could take that and it's the same thing. And it's a lot easier because I don't have to, the sequence is the same, but I don't have to always end with a rhyme in, phrase or somewhere. It's kind of easy. And I still get to express myself in the same fashion.
That's dope. I never really looked at it that way. That's ill. That's ill.
A lot of people don't, but
because if you think about it, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they are damn near spitting. Yeah.
Same thing.
There's the Farrakhan is spitting. Yeah, definitely. He's got
a whole lot of people.
Yeah, I never looked at it. That's definitely.
I call it grown man rap, and that's another one of my projects that I'm coming out with, where I'm doing some live public speaking. And I have, if not artists that I'm working with, I might put out a little something, just for the the fun of it, and just have some fun with it. That's what it's about.
How do you think we bridge the gap between our generation and the new generation of hip hoppers. Oh, yep.
Say that again.
How do we bridge the gap between the new generation of hip hop and then our generation that's kind of become like a Nas, for instance, is like, I would say, showing us what an older rapper can do. He can still sell out the Garden. He can still put out great music that's hits the top of the charts and also is critically acclaimed. So how do we, because I've seen a lot of like older people in our generation kind of down the younger generation, and I personally want to bridge the gap, and we're all hip hop, and I don't want to single them out and be like, that ain't no hip hop, that ain't what we bout, and all that type of stuff.
I mean, I understand where it comes from, because I mean, I'm pretty sure the generation before us was the same way when we was coming up. And yep. I told you, I live on these type of platforms. I don't watch TV much. I watch movies with my significant other, the common TV series. But really, I watch podcasts all day. So I like to hear different insights from different age groups. And yep. I'll be totally honest. I love the energy out of drill. Can I listen to it all day? No. You know what I'm saying? I can't listen to it. But I do appreciate the energy they give out. I love hearing it when I'm working out. And, I just appreciate talent. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the time it takes to make something and then watching it come into fruition again. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate it. I know a lot of the older guys or my era. I'm a lyrics guy. So I look for content. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So do I feel like it doesn't match? No, but I feel like this is a place for it. I do understand. I understand a lot of things about hip hop that grew into hip hop and grew out of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And we can't be mad at the state it's in and not be. We can't be. It's a pro and a con. You know what I'm saying? We were able to lay out the playing field and make it even for everybody without the record labels. So guess what? Doing that means that we allowed more people into the game. So being able to have your studio in your house, look, the things we're doing right now, we weren't able to do 15, 20 years ago. Absolutely. So of course, it's going to mean we're going to have a lot more people involved, a lot more content, but that don't mean the quality of it is always going to match up. So just do your thing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have an audience that fits you. So just do it. I appreciate being able to have the variety of different talents and have the ability to expose it to such a wide audience at that quick of a dime. I appreciate that. So if that means we got to listen to a little bit more music or have access to stuff that you might not like, so be it. You know what I'm saying? What you don't like, somebody else appreciate. Just keep moving.
That's a fact. So what are your thoughts on this new, nowadays we don't have CDs. That's what we are growing. That's what they got from us. You know what I mean? Whenever we had any dollars, we was running to the mall to go buy a CD. Now they have digital distribution, and I feel like it's a big gimmick, and they're raping everybody with this digital distribution, and the money's still circulating within the corporations, and they're leaving the artists out, and they're cutting them out even more. But I wanted to get your take on it.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I feel like, that the record label seen what we were doing with the CDs, and just before they felt like they was going to lose all touch of it, they created this new way to monetize and keep us in this hamster wheel.
Yep.
Fishing for these streams that I call the penny jar. That's all it is, the penny jar.
That's the next thing I was gonna. Yeah, gotta keep going.
But it's all about being around somebody like yourself who can actually show you the best way to use the penny jar, because it's still a marketing tool. You just use it as a marketing tool to direct people to the music that you only have access to, that you can make, only available to your particular audience, and make them pay for it as you see fit. And that's what it's a philosophy called Cash App Records. Why? it's just you're cutting out the middleman and you being able to have a catalog that specifically to one geared audience. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we're trying to market 2023. You know what I mean? And just keep it independent. With social media having its reach with so many people, I mean, what do you need anything for? All you need is consistency, and I feel like that's where the game is turning now. And I've been on this almost a year. I've been talking about it. And I've been putting little tests out there online, and things is working. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And it just shows me, it gives me an idea of what more I got to put into seeing the results you want to get out of it.
All right, that's dope, man. So I had a video from one of the artists that you put me on to. It's King Jukes. Jukes
Nation.
Jukes Nation, and he got my guy Sauce God. I'm still upset Sauce God didn't show up to that damn show a few months ago, but the one that we did up in Kingston.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to pull up.
Yeah, he's definitely supposed to. Definitely, but
he's working now. We outside, so he gonna definitely make moves now.
Yeah, so let me get the video on, and we'll come right back, y'all.
Yeah. I'm on my grind, I'm independent. That bitch in my mind, that pussy tempting. If I hit it, she knows that I'm gon' kill it. Can't be chasing no bitch when you got your business. Best in the world if we talking lyrics, living legend. They talking like Don Lemon. No, we talking on mine. I'm a tall building. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm all in my feelings. Wasting my time if you talking feelings. I'm Sub-Zero to Codus. I'm feeling frigid. I'm on fire right now and I'm burning bridges. Fuck them niggas who hating. I hope they listen. I'ma give you some games to pay attention. With that contract you sign, how you really winning. Got you niggas on lock. Hillary Clinton. If you catching us up, then I know this hitting. Play with the flow, but this ain't no scrimmage. They can feel in my aura is something different. I just give you my heart, so you gotta feel it. Or the trauma from drama I gotta deal with. Ain't let it change me, I stay the realest. Spinning blocks like it's Tetris. I bet you seen this under lights and it feel like I'm really beaming. Sunday nights running back.
Another day, another fight. Secure the bag, keep it double tight. Roll the riches, run the life. When you take it, no, can't rush the flight. Hustle hard, no, hustle right. Cause being broke ain't nothing nice. Sacrifice, but what's the price? Flirt with death, but I'm in love with life. Gift and curse, double knife. Take a chance, chuck the dice. Vision focused on tunnel sight. Hustle hard, no, hustle right. Cause being broke ain't nothing nice. Know your worth, up the price. Dodge death, oh, what a life.
I know it hurts though. I gotta drip like I'm Virgil. Summertime with the fur coat. Can't wait to floss the pinky ring so you can watch my bling sipping Merlot. Underground from the bottom, but on the real estate I'm a commercial. Cop a warehouse, park the Porsche in it. Goddamn nigga, that's award winning. I'm like Popeye, I need more spinach, more money, more cash, more winning, more this, more that. No limits, hard work, no cap, no gimmicks. For the bag, I trap, go get it. Everything I touch, prolific, fuck critics, anyone that don't get it. I'm coming up from the bottom when niggas be plotting cause everyone's starving. Niggas ain't give me no pardons, now I pull up and I ball like I'm Harden. I feel like Spike at the Garden, look how they all watching, I got them all talking. I'm pulling up in a Rari, sauce in the cut and we sparking.
Another day, another fight. Secure the bag, keep it double tight. Roll the riches, run the life. When you take a note, can't rush the flight. Hustle hard, no, hustle right. Cause being broke ain't nothing nice. Sacrifice, but what's the price? Flirt with death, but I'm in love with life. Gift and curse, double knife. Take a chance, chuck the dice. Vision focused on tunnel sight. Hustle hard, no, hustle right. Cause being broke ain't nothing nice. Know your worth, up the price. Dodge death, oh, what a life.